Hey, what up guys? It's Jamie from Body Smart Fitness, and this is the first episode of Overrated, Underrated, and in today's episode, we're gonna be covering weight loss strategies.
Weight Watchers.
Weight Watchers is overrated. It doesn't teach you any education around food. It just gets you to count points. There's like free foods as well. And you know, no food is free. Every food has a caloric value. And if you eat too much of that food and you're trying to lose weight, you're not going to lose weight. It's going to put you up to your calorie maintenance, or even might put you in a calorie surplus. No food is free. Everything has a caloric value. You need to be spending time educating yourself about food, not relying on points or buying like Weight Watchers branded foods to like adhere to those points. It doesn't work. It doesn't work long term. Weight Watchers is overrated. Vegan diet for weight loss is overrated. You know, if you're doing a vegan diet for ethical reasons, that's completely fine. But if you're doing like vegan January or veganary or whatever the hell they call it, then no, it's, you know, you're jumping on the bandwagon of the next thing that can maybe help you lose weight really quick, but you're not looking at the sustainability aspect or the adherence aspect. Yes, it's great to get lots of micronutrients in your diet and lots of vegetables, and there's a lot of volume in that type of food. So that can help you adhere to a deficit, but if you can't see yourself doing this long term, then the chances are that not only will you might lose weight, you might not if you eat too many calories, but then the chances are really stacked against you if you go back to old eating habits and old behaviors, that the weight will quickly come back on as soon as you stop.
Mediterranean diet.
The Mediterranean diet is underrated when it comes to weight loss. You know, a lot of the foods that you eat on a Mediterranean diet are, you know, high fats, minimally processed food. It's good whole food, and what you'll tend to find is a lot of this food is really, really satiating. Some of it can be calorie dense, like your salmon and your nuts, but if you make the right food choices, not only are you gonna get all the health benefits from eating that type of diet as well, but you're gonna feel really full and satiated off that type of diet.
Low carb.
Low carb is, I would say, properly rated, which maybe some people might have thought. I might have not said that, I might have said it's overrated. Low carb is properly rated. It works for some people. Some people just don't tolerate carbs very well and prefer a higher fat, higher protein diet. If that works for you, that's fantastic. Again, it's just having that self-awareness to find what works for you. And if you find that you're someone who tends to always overindulge on carbohydrates, so certain carbohydrates, and you find a lower carb diet, higher fat, higher protein is more satiating for you and allows you to, you know, see your weight loss goals, and you feel like you can sustain it long term, then yeah, that's a great strategy for you.
Intermittent fasting.
Intermittent fasting is wildly overrated, and again is like the popular kid at school again. It comes up all the time. I think people just think, oh, I'm gonna do 12-8, you know, start my eating window at 12 o'clock, finish at 8 o'clock at night. Because I'm fasting, I'll just, you know, the fat will just magically drop off me. You still have to adhere to a calorie deficit, just like all diets. For some people, this works really well. I've had clients who do intermittent fasting and they have great success of it. They don't maybe like eating breakfast, and it just helps give them that level of restriction. But a lot of people are just thinking, oh, I'm gonna start doing fasting, and then, you know, calories aren't gonna matter, and that's just going to help me lose weight. That isn't the case. If you're going to do fasting as a strategy for weight loss, you've still got to track your calories, you've still got to manage your portions, and you've still got to adhere to that calorie deficit. But if you like breakfast and you want to eat breakfast at some point again, it's probably not going to work for you. So intermittent fasting is overrated. Herbalife. Oh my God, I don't even know where Herbalife goes other than just don't do it. In fact, I just looked at examine.com the other day, and they shared a post. We'll pull it up. It was bad. It was like really bad. So this is off examine.com's Instagram page. Analysts of #Herbalife products found heavy metals, toxic compounds, trace of psychotropotic drugs, and highly pathogenic bacteria, likely contained to liver failure and the death of a 24-year-old woman who took 3 Herbalife products for 2 months. Enough said.
Intuitive eating.
Intuitive eating for weight loss is wildly overrated and not advised, in my opinion. You know, intuitive eating is, you've got to get to a point where you can intuitively listen to your body and be mindful like about your body and when to eat and listen to those hunger signals. But for a lot of people, being intuitive hasn't served you to this point. That's probably why you've put weight on in the first place, because you haven't understood like, hey, how many calories is in this, how do I manage my portions, like this is calorie dense. And unless you've got that baseline understanding and education around food, then you're not going to know if that plate of food and that plate of food, even though it's the same size, one could have double the calories in it. So you need to have a level of education, especially when it comes to weight loss and adhering to a calorie deficit. You also have to take into account that when you do lose weight, you do have a decrease in leptin and an increase of ghrelin, which basically means your overall satiation, like how full you feel and how hungry you feel, could be very different to the next person. So listening to these intuitive signals isn't going to serve you, because you might have eaten enough calories to adhere to a deficit, but your body is telling you you are starving, you are an endless bucket that just needs to keep being fed. And if you do that, you're not going to be able to adhere to your calorie deficit. So intuitive eating, there's a place for it, but not in weight loss, in my opinion at least.
Blood type diet.
The blood type diet is not even rated because it's not a thing. Yeah, the studies have shown that it's just not a thing.
Slimming World.
Slimming World is overrated, very much like Weight Watchers. It's another slimming club where you basically count points, but it can really cause a negative relationship with food, where you're labeling certain foods as sins. No food is a sin. It all has a caloric value and a caloric intake. You don't want to be feeling guilty after you enjoy like a Mars bar or a Snickers or whatever food it is that you do enjoy. And then there's also, the free foods, and no food is free. And I know some people who do Slimming World and have seen success of it might go, oh hey, you've still got to portion control those foods. Well, obviously not everyone knows that, and the people who do obviously see success with Slimming World have just been able to adhere to that calorie deficit. But the ones who have maybe looked at free food and just been like, I can eat as much as I want, they haven't, and it's because that system does not work. All foods have a caloric intake and a caloric value.
Keto.
Keto is wildly overrated, and yeah, I mean, it's like the popular kid at school at the moment, and it's coming up like time and time again. Keto is just cutting out a whole food group, cutting out carbohydrates, so you go into a state called ketosis. Most people who do it don't even ever get into that state because they still actually eat more carbs than they realize. It's not sustainable. That's the main thing. It's not sustainable for weight loss long term. Most people are going, oh, I'll go on keto and lose 10 or 20 or 50 pounds and then I'll just stop doing it. The problem is you've not developed any habits or behaviors or education around enjoying and eating carbohydrates in your diet, which means when you eventually start reintroducing them back in, you're not going to know how to sustain that weight loss. And that is, losing weight isn't necessarily the hard part, sustaining it is. Like, a lot of people have lost weight before and I've been successful with doing that. The part that people struggle with is sustaining the weight loss. And if you're doing something like keto and you plan on eating carbs again, it's probably not going to work. So keto is massively overrated.
Fat burners.
Fat burners are overrated, and again, are just a quick fix. We're looking to take something that can burn fat, which can't happen. They might, make your body temperature warmer. They might have a bunch of caffeine in it to speed your heart rate up, so you burn a few more calories. But again, if you're not controlling your calorie intake, you're not going to see any results. And there are some fat burners that are really dangerous as well, and you really don't want to be taking in terms of just like what it can do to your overall health. So fat burners are overrated. Don't take them. Don't waste your money on them.
Flexible dieting.
Flexible dieting is wildly, on the other side, underrated, and I think sometimes flexible dieting gets a bad rap because people just think you can eat pizza and donuts and ice cream and whatever else. That isn't, what flexible dieting is about. It's about having a minimally processed, nutrient-dense diet, which makes up around 80% of your calories, and then 20% comes from a little bit of what you love. And that just allows you to enjoy a chocolate bar without calling it a sin. It allows you to enjoy ice cream, enjoy a glass of wine, whatever it is, and factor this into your calories. It takes away the restrictive mindset around food. It takes away the on-plan, off-plan sort of mindset around food, and it really empowers you to make the decisions that you want. So, keeping all that in mind, things we've just spoken about earlier in the video, the key to seeing sustainable weight loss is adherence. And from my experience with clients, when we empower clients through education and through understanding food and getting to enjoy the foods that they love on a daily basis or on a weekly basis, it allows them to adhere to a calorie deficit and really get to the goals that they want, but then not only get to the goals they want, to learn how to sustain them because they've done it with a flexible approach. So flexible dieting is wildly underrated. If you haven't already, guys, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and also hit that notification bell, because we're really going to be taking YouTube seriously moving forward, and there's going to be a ton of educational and entertaining content coming your way. Let me know in the comments, have you tried any of these diet strategies before for weight loss, and did you have success with them? If you did, or if you didn't, please do let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you guys.